I feel like I felt like I had a very intuitive understanding of what money is. I spent a huge part of my life pursuing the accumulation of wealth. And then you hear the phrase from you, which stopped me in my tracks, which is inflation is theft. And it didn't make sense. Like, it wasn't that I disagreed. It was that I couldn't make the sentence make sense. And I realized that I always thought of inflation, and we're going to get to answering the question around what is money, why Bitcoin is useful, all of that. But to me, to attack that head on doesn't work as well as talking about why inflation is theft, because I had mistaken it for a fundamental property of nature.
Right.
I just never thought beyond that inflation exists, and it's roughly 2% a year, and that is what it is.
Yeah.
And then I encountered Michael Saylor and him talking about hyperinflation. I was like, wait a second, what?
I got a $100 check from my grandma, and my dad said I need to put it in the bank so it can grow over the years.
Well, that's fantastic. A really smart decision, young man. We can put that check in a money market mutual fund. Then we'll reinvest the earnings into foreign currency accounts with compounding interest, and it's gone.
What?
It's gone. It's all gone.
What's all gone?
The money in your account. It didn't do too well. It's gone.
The idea of economic inflation sounds wonderful. You want your house to become more valuable. You want your portfolio to appreciate. You want things in general to go up in dollar value. How they actually do that, though, is very important. You want them to be value producing assets. Inflation, though, and this is a word that really gets twisted because it's got a lot of different meanings. Do you mean price inflation? Do you mean inflation of the money supply? And the way, when I use the term inflation, I like to refer specifically to arbitrary increases in the supply of fiat currency. So what's happening in that instance is that the actual unit of perception we're using to value assets, the dollar, is being diminished.
And fiat currency, for people that don't know, is just money backed by the government.
Fiat currency, the word fiat means by decree. So this pretty much means because I said so, under the veiled threat of force.
Sirs, another insurance company is going under.
Now determining most prudent move for insurance company.
Insurance company.
We abstract gold into paper to make it more transactable, more convenient, faster, and more portable, frankly, which is one of the properties of money we'll get into about gold. The problem is you end up trusting the custodian. So you put all your gold on deposit with a custodian that then issues the paper that's redeemable for the gold. And over time, this becomes the most alluring source of power for governments or anyone that can command force. They want to control that source of economic power because it's a call option on everything, which is one of the definitions of money, by the way. So you go from a full reserve currency where each dollar is redeemable for 1 unit of gold to fractional reserve banking, where there's an excess of paper beyond what the gold reserves can justify themselves, to post 1971 is fiat currency, where it is not redeemable for gold whatsoever. So one answer for what is fiat currency, it is an irredeemable government debt certificate undergoing slow motion default via inflation while its use is forced on all of us, on free economic actors. No one would ever voluntarily hold a fiat currency. Why would you ever choose to hold a money that someone can arbitrarily diminish?
You trust the government, that you were born into a system where the government seems stable and trustable. Your parents did it. And so it's like a promise made by somebody that you trust implicitly. Yes. And so, for instance, I'm relatively bright and educated, and until about 18 months ago, I just thought you make as much US dollar as you can, you put it under your mattress and you're fine. And then I was introduced to the idea of inflation and how even 2% becomes problematic really fast, 7% becomes terrifying, and 15% you're devastated in less than a decade.
Yes.
And I was like, what?
We want more money. Yeah, more money.
More money from where?
Just more money, you know. Canada doesn't get enough money. Other countries have lots of money. We want some of that money.
Mr. Bootman, you seem to not understand how global economics works. I think
Don't give me that fat cat fancy lip wiggling. Are you gonna give Canada more money or not?
The Federal Reserve, or the Fed, is the central bank of the United States. As the central bank, it determines our nation's monetary policy. This means the Fed determines how much money is floating around in the U.S. economic ecosystem, ready to be spent on goods or services. By controlling the money supply, the Fed is able to influence both interest rates and the health of the overall economy. The Fed's goal is to keep two important economic metrics in check: unemployment and inflation. The Federal Reserve has a few tools to influence the economy.